Peacemaker is sitting on a hospital bed while a nurse nearby tells him he is lucky to have survived both a gunshot and a collapsing building, though she adds he is still a jerk and only needs to take care of his neck before being discharged. After she leaves, Peacemaker asks a man standing outside his room if he is free to go and whether the police are waiting for him. When the man questions why he is asking, Peacemaker reveals his identity and says he should be in jail, but the nurse said he was free to leave. The man assures him there are no police outside, prompting Peacemaker to quickly suit up and exit the hospital. A girl working nearby sees him leave and sends a message to Myrn, reporting that Peacemaker has exited the hospital. Peacemaker gets into a taxi and urges the driver to speed away, pleased that there are no police sirens in earshot. Later, Kia and his girlfriend Adebayo are shown, who have just moved into a new apartment. Kia expresses stress while Adebayo says she needs money and once they get some, she will never work with Adebayo again. She receives a text from Myrn about Peacemaker. Meanwhile, Peacemaker arrives at his house but lacks money to pay the taxi driver. He takes his helmet and heads to the back of the house, breaking a window to enter since he cannot find his keys, and discovers his house is in disarray as though it was searched. Checking his phone, he finds many missed calls and voice messages. It is then revealed that a superhero named Vigilante, who claims to be Peacemaker's best friend, had defeated him. Suddenly, Peacemaker is surrounded by armed individuals and is unable to react. Myrn appears and tells him that although he was sentenced to 30 years, he only served 4. Peacemaker argues that he killed Rick Flag for them, but Myrn says no one specifically ordered his death and that he is there to recruit Peacemaker for a mission to eliminate the Butterflies. The mission team includes Myrn, Peacemaker, Harcourt, and John Economos. When Peacemaker asks the mission's name, Myrn tells him it's Project Butterfly, prompting Peacemaker to recall Project Starfish and wonder if this mission also involves a massive threat. Harcourt clarifies that butterflies refer to dangerous individuals they need to eliminate. Myrn instructs him to meet the team in the evening, and Peacemaker agrees, saying he will visit his dad and Eagly first. When asked who Eagly is, Peacemaker responds that Myrn should have done his research as Eagly is his sidekick. Peacemaker then visits his father, who is cold and unwelcoming, though Peacemaker remains cheerful. He later reunites with Eagly, an eagle who touches him with his wing, making Peacemaker emotional. Meanwhile, Economos, Harcourt, and Adebayo reach a secret base where the mission will operate from. During lunch with his father, Peacemaker tries to please him by sharing a story about a teammate named Bloodsport, a skilled shooter who was ironically afraid of mice, which makes his father laugh. Then Peacemaker steps forward and explains that the reason Bloodsport is afraid of rats is because, as a child, his father had locked him in a box full of rats. Everyone is shocked by this disturbing revelation. His father laughs even harder and sarcastically asks Peacemaker not to joke and to admit that Bloodsport was the one who shot him, which immediately silences Peacemaker's laughter. His father questions how someone like him, his own son, could possibly be a Peacemaker. He then opens a hidden room, revealing a large high-tech lab filled with Peacemaker's helmets. Peacemaker selects one that is capable of sonic blasts and leaves. Later that night, dressed in his full costume, Peacemaker arrives at the restaurant where Myrn had called him. Myrn is pleased to see him, and Peacemaker in turn feels cheerful and introduces one of the young men at the table as a mentally unstable younger brother of a friend, then stands beside him. The boy smiles at the gesture. Myrn hands Peacemaker a file containing extensive information about Project Butterfly and tells him to read it at home. Meanwhile, the waiter steps outside briefly, happily exclaiming that Peacemaker has returned. Back at home, Peacemaker and Adebayo have a conversation, showing the beginnings of a friendly bond between them. Later, while driving, Peacemaker notices Harcourt walking and turns his car around to go sit in the same bar she enters. Some men try to harass Harcourt, but she fights them off inside the bar. One of the men approaches her while commenting on her necklace, and she grabs his hand, flips him, and beats him up severely, causing the others to flee. She then returns to her seat, and Peacemaker, impressed by her, attempts to start a conversation. He tells her that he knows she turned her car around, and if she came willingly, that means she is like him. He adds that he likes her, which is why she is at a disadvantage. Afterward, Peacemaker sits alone and drinks, eventually noticing a woman looking at him. In the next moment, he is seen making out with her. Meanwhile, Adebayo is shown talking to Waller, revealing that she is Waller's daughter and had been sent on the mission to keep Waller updated on the team's activities. Waller gives Adebayo a diary. The scene shifts to the woman's apartment, where she brushes her teeth while Peacemaker listens to her music and dances around in his underwear. Suddenly, she grabs a large knife and attacks him, inflicting multiple cuts before lifting and throwing him across the room. Peacemaker retaliates by throwing various objects at her, but she is unaffected. As she transforms into something monstrous and continues to beat him, Peacemaker, in panic, jumps out of the window, injuring his shoulder upon landing. He reminds himself to stay calm and follow the doctor's advice about taking care of his body. The woman looks down from above, and Peacemaker, terrified, flees. She leaps down after him, unharmed, and starts searching for him. Inside his car, Peacemaker puts on his helmet and activates the sonic boom. A blue energy layer envelops him, and a shockwave from the helmet triggers a massive explosion, blowing off the woman's clothes and devastating the area. Then Eagly appears, offering Peacemaker a dead rat, and follows his commands without hesitation. Peacemaker expresses his gratitude to Eagly. Peacemaker contacts Harcourt and asks about the Project Butterfly, wanting to know what it really is and why the target is harmful. Peacemaker further tells Harcourt that he had hooked up with a girl who turned out to be a meta-human and threw him around the room. Hearing this, Harcourt quickly gets up from the bed, dresses up, and asks Peacemaker about the girl's whereabouts. That's when Peacemaker reveals that the girl is dead and that he will need a new ride. Later, back in the meta-human's apartment, Peacemaker puts on his costume. Adebayo is with Harcourt as they are about to arrive. There, Harcourt warns her that her new apartment, shared with her girlfriend, may not be safe and suggests her girlfriend should consider relocating in case anyone finds out about the mission. Elsewhere, Economos is informed that Peacemaker's car has been found at the crime scene and is asked if he can alter the registration, which he begins working on. Police officers arrive at the scene and question how, after such a massive explosion, a rat managed to survive. They then discover the face of the metahuman woman, which has been destroyed by the blast. Harcourt and Adebayo arrive at the crime scene, looking for Peacemaker, who is actually upstairs collecting his music collection and other belongings. He also finds a strange device, wraps it in a bedsheet, and gets ready to leave. Harcourt calls to inform him that the police are outside and urges him to come down quickly as they are waiting in the car. Peacemaker notices a large hole in the floor, looks down, and sees the police surrounding the building. Officers begin entering from all sides, and Peacemaker runs to the upper floors. He knocks on the door of a flat and asks whether someone named Freddy is home, to which the man replies that he does not know any Freddy. Peacemaker insists that Freddy is his friend, and just then, police reach that floor. Peacemaker forces the man inside and locks the door, hiding in the apartment where a couple lives. The woman is immediately attracted to Peacemaker's physique, causing an argument with her husband, who accuses her of flirting. Peacemaker ties both of them to chairs and gags them, just as police begin banging on the door and eventually break it down. Meanwhile, Peacemaker escapes by jumping from balcony to balcony. The police ask the tied-up couple where the intruder went, and the wife points out to the balcony, saying he jumped outside. Meanwhile, Detective Song stands on a balcony, unaware that Peacemaker is just below her. He continues his escape by jumping to another lower balcony. Harcourt and Adebayo have now reached behind the building, and Harcourt steps out of the car. Peacemaker jumps down onto a small rooftop, but is then spotted and surrounded by police, who aim their guns and demand that he surrender. At that moment, Harcourt throws a fainting device that knocks out the officers. Peacemaker flees with Harcourt, while Detective Song notices movement in the darkness, but cannot confirm if it is Harcourt or Peacemaker. She rushes to her car, but Peacemaker opens the door first. Eagly flies in and perches inside the car, followed by Peacemaker, and they drive away. Economos is asked if he successfully registered the car, and he confirms he did, also changing the fingerprint records through hacking into the lab system. The following day, Peacemaker visits his father's house, where officers confront him, stating they found his car at the blast scene and asking about his whereabouts at the time. Peacemaker's father challenges them, saying they have no case against him and should not waste his time unless they have proof. With no evidence, the police are forced to leave empty-handed. In the next scene, Myrn is seen angrily confronting Economos because he had changed the registration details of Peacemaker's car to his father's name, and the fingerprints on the vehicle would also match his father's, causing all suspicion to fall on Peacemaker's dad. Shortly after, Peacemaker, Adebayo, and Harcourt arrive as Economos is setting up the equipment, and the entire team gathers. Economos questions who exposed Peacemaker to the butterfly, implying someone from the group must have leaked it. Harcourt expresses her suspicion toward Peacemaker, while Adebayo defends him. Peacemaker then remembers the girl he had kissed and realizes, while reading through the mission file given by Myrn, that his mistake led to the butterfly attack. Myrn scolds him for his carelessness, emphasizing the importance and secrecy of the mission and questioning why he let the girl access the file, saying that the nation's security depends on this operation. Peacemaker shouts back, insisting he was never told what Project Butterfly really was. Myrn receives a phone call, and afterward he confronts Peacemaker about the witnesses at the apartment, to which Peacemaker admits he was only trying to intimidate them. Myrn instructs Adebayo to meet the husband and wife and persuade them not to reveal anything. Later, Peacemaker is at home, listening to music, lying on his bed, and crying, reflecting on how no one truly cares about him, and remembering Rick Flagg's hurtful words. Vigilante, who had previously sent him voice messages in prison, appears at his window and asks if he was crying. Peacemaker denies it, claiming he was doing facial exercises to look more muscular, joking that Vigilante wouldn't understand. Meanwhile, Adebayo visits the couple and convinces them not to speak to the police, and they agree, promising to stay silent. Back at Peacemaker's house, Vigilante helps clean up and insists he is Peacemaker's best friend, but Peacemaker disagrees, stating that Eagly is his only true best friend. Peacemaker expresses guilt about possibly hurting innocent people, but Vigilante, who is a remorseless killer, tells him they are alike and that they both take satisfaction in inflicting pain on bad people, which is what makes them heroes. Later, the police interrogate the husband and wife separately using photos, and both wrongly identify Peacemaker's father as the suspect. As a result, Peacemaker's dad is arrested. Meanwhile, Adebayo urges her girlfriend to move to a safer place, causing tension between them. The scene cuts to Peacemaker and Vigilante lying in bed after intimacy, smoking weed. Peacemaker examines the device he had taken from the metahuman's apartment, presses its buttons, and reveals it to be a miniature spaceship. In the next scene, Peacemaker's dad arrives at jail and demands a seat from another inmate, who refuses. However, upon noticing the other prisoners staring in fear, the boy quickly vacates the seat. Peacemaker's dad sits down, and a group of inmates rush over, hailing him as the White Dragon. Peacemaker and his team prepare for a mission, loading their equipment into the car. Meanwhile, Vigilante appears, having secretly followed Peacemaker to keep an eye on him and ensure he doesn't land in any danger. Harcourt notices him, pulls him out from hiding, and instructs him to come along, eventually taking him with them. Vigilante agrees and joins the group. Later, Myrn shows Peacemaker a photo of a family and explains that the man in the picture is confirmed to be a butterfly. However, he adds that it's unclear whether the man's wife and children are also butterflies, so they need to find out about the entire family. He then tells Peacemaker that he must kill them if necessary. Peacemaker hesitates, and Harcourt reminds him that he once claimed he would do anything for peace, even kill to maintain it. Peacemaker responds by saying that while he can kill, it's hard to look at those children and believe they are a threat, especially since Harcourt herself mentioned they might not be butterflies. Uncomfortable with the situation, the team turns their focus to reviewing a photo of the bodyguard. Myrn warns that if the younger man shown is the judo master, they need to be extra careful, as he is extremely dangerous. Peacemaker laughs at the idea, mocking the man's short height and saying he looks like he's only 1.5 feet tall. Myrn, not amused, firmly repeats that Judo Master is indeed dangerous. The team arrives at their destination, and Peacemaker checks his weapons, noticing something odd. He questions why there is no peace sign on his gun, claiming that without the sign, he doesn't feel right about shooting. Harcourt tells him to stop being ridiculous and to just pick up the weapon. Peacemaker insists that every one of his weapons bears a dove symbol, his personal mark of peace, and without it, he might not be able to fire. Harcourt sarcastically tells him to draw one himself, so Peacemaker tries to sketch a dove on his gun, but fails to make it look correct from any angle. Meanwhile, Economos and Myrn are seen installing cameras on trees, and through their discussion, it becomes clear that Myrn has a violent past, though he claims he has changed significantly. As night falls, Peacemaker and Harcourt take position with a sniper rifle, concealing themselves in the bushes near the house. When the family arrives and gets out of the car, Myrn instructs Peacemaker to shoot the butterfly, but he hesitates because the bodyguard is also with them. Once the family enters the house, the bodyguards remain stationed outside. As the entire family walks in a synchronized line from the gate to the house, Harcourt comments that she believes the whole family might be butterflies. Peacemaker expresses reluctance, saying he'll shoot if necessary, but doesn't understand why there's talk of killing everyone. Myrn reassures him to calm down, explaining that he is not Amanda Waller, who gives kill orders without justification. Peacemaker and Harcourt stay in place, waiting for the right moment to confirm the presence of a butterfly. During the wait, they have a conversation where Harcourt reveals that she entered this line of work due to her father's influence. Over time, after mission upon mission, she became the person she is, one who tackles assignments involving saving children and eliminating threats. After sharing this, she walks away. Suddenly, a movement in the bushes reveals Vigilante, who comes out and starts talking to Peacemaker. Just then, Harcourt returns, prompting Vigilante to quickly hide again. However, the team detects him through the microphone and camera feed and instructs him to reveal himself. Vigilante then emerges and remarks that if the family must be killed, they should include the bodyguard as well. Harcourt responds that there's no way to know for sure whether the bodyguard is innocent or not. After some time, the family sets bowls on the dining table and begins filling them with a honey-like liquid. They then remove long, seafood-like tubes from their mouths and start drinking the liquid. Observing this, Myrn urgently says that they are all butterflies and instructs the team to kill them immediately. Peacemaker has a clear view through the window, and everyone on the team encourages him to hurry and shoot, but his hands tremble and he doesn't pull the trigger. In an attempt to calm him, Vigilante jokingly tells Peacemaker to rest for a couple of minutes and then resume shooting them all calmly. Just when Peacemaker sees Butterfly Leader and seems ready to act, the Judo Master unexpectedly arrives and swiftly incapacitates all three of them one after another, knocking out Myrn and Harcourt and attaching Peacemaker to a microphone. He checks on Peacemaker by asking if he is okay, but Peacemaker cannot respond since the Judo Master continues his relentless assault. As he cleans up, the Judo Master sarcastically comments that he feels like doing laundry and instructs Economos not to let anyone leave the house. When Economos questions how he could possibly stop someone, Myrn insists that it doesn't matter how, it is a secret mission and nobody should find out about it. Meanwhile, Judo Master overpowers both Peacemaker and Vigilante, rendering them unconscious. Butterfly Leader then hands a shotgun to Judo Master and tells him to bring them inside. At the same time, Harcourt suddenly faces an attack from a second bodyguard, but Adebayo arrives just in time and intervenes. She points a gun at the bodyguard and commands him to raise his hands. Adebayo directly asks if he is involved with the butterflies. In a panic, the bodyguard insists that he has no idea what she is talking about, claims he hasn't seen anything, and pleads for his life, explaining he has small children and a family. Harcourt urges Adebayo to shoot him quickly, but Adebayo cannot bring herself to do it. Eventually, Harcourt grabs the gun and fires at the bodyguard herself. She then scolds Adebayo for being too slow, and Adebayo explains that she has never shot anyone before. Next, the Judo Master is shown lounging in a chair and snacking on Cheetos, while Peacemaker and Vigilante sit tied to chairs in front of him. Peacemaker sarcastically comments about the Cheetos, suggesting the Judo Master should get himself tested too. He opens his mouth and the Judo Master throws Cheetos at him in response. Meanwhile, Harcourt and Adebayo are tracking Peacemaker using a transmitter. Along with Myrn, they arrive at the house. Inside, Butterfly Leader is seen torturing Vigilante with electric shocks. Suddenly, Adebayo pushes a button in the house, revealing a secret door. In the next scene, Butterfly Leader removes Vigilante's mask, revealing him to be the same person seen in the first episode during a meeting that was followed by a butterfly appearance in a restaurant. Butterfly Leader insists to Peacemaker that he is his friend, but warns that he will continue torturing him until he reveals who sent him there. While Adebayo and Harcourt struggle to get through the strange wall blocking the secret door, Myrn instructs Economos to plant a bomb to breach it. Economos receives a small pocket-sized microbomb, which he places on the wall. When the bomb explodes, the impact shakes Peacemaker's chair, causing it to fall and releasing his arms. He attacks Butterfly Leader, who tries to fly away. During the struggle, Peacemaker also manages to free his legs and grabs a shotgun, which he uses to shoot Butterfly Leader. Meanwhile, the Judo Master escapes in a car, but Economos chases after him and eventually rams the vehicle. The Judo Master crawls out, and an anxious Economos strikes him on the head with a heavy object. When the Judo Master tries to crawl again, Economos hits him several more times until he is finally knocked out. Inside the house, Harcourt and Adebayo remain trapped behind the wall. Peacemaker calls out to them through a small hole, assuring them that they are inside and will come out soon. Vigilante then unties Peacemaker's ropes and shares that he had accidentally cut off his little toe, but was lucky to survive. Suddenly, from Butterfly Leader's damaged face, a butterfly-like creature emerges. Both Vigilante and Peacemaker watch in stunned silence, and inside the team's operational truck, a monitor displays the fact that this suspected butterfly is just one among many scattered across the continent. The whole team goes back to the operating room, and as Harcourt heads to her quarters, she starts to break down emotionally. She turns to Peacemaker and asks what he did when he saw the butterfly, and he says he shot it with a shotgun. Just then, the Judo Master falls from his seat and Harcourt hits him. She wonders what to do with him now, and when Peacemaker and Vigilante raise their guns, Harcourt quickly stops them. Later, Myrn tells Harcourt and Adebayo to check all the items they brought from the house, then calls Peacemaker into his office. Myrn asks why Peacemaker didn't shoot earlier, and Peacemaker says all his weapons have a dove symbol, which stands for peace and shows what he believes in. He says he can kill for peace, but this time they were kids, and Myrn didn't explain it properly. Myrn says the world is in danger, and only Peacemaker can help, then looks at Vigilante and suggests he might be another option. Peacemaker warns Myrn that Vigilante is a little crazy. Myrn agrees and tells Peacemaker to watch him closely, since he might expose the mission, which is top secret. Meanwhile, Adebayo tells Harcourt it was her first time shooting someone. Harcourt replies the man died because of her, and says she had to wait before acting. Shaken, Adebayo goes to the washroom, feeling overwhelmed. In another room, Economos tends to the tied-up judo master. Elsewhere, Peacemaker and Vigilante are in a car. Peacemaker asks to be dropped near his dad's house. Vigilante calls Peacemaker's father a racist. Peacemaker replies that Vigilante's dad cheated on his mother. Vigilante says it doesn't matter. Peacemaker says he was talking about his own father. When he gets home, he finds it empty, not knowing his dad has been arrested. He enters the secret room, gathers all his helmets, and puts them in a bag. Vigilante joins him, and it's clear the costume there belongs to his dad, the White Dragon. Vigilante asks why the place is so big, and Peacemaker says it's a quantum unfolding storage area, which he wouldn't understand. Peacemaker reminds Vigilante that his dad is a racist and says if he works with him, people will think he's racist too. Peacemaker says he won't work with him, he just makes the costumes. Outside, Peacemaker talks to an old man who mentions Batman and asks if his villains are also Batman's enemies. He also asks if there's any villain Peacemaker hasn't fought. Peacemaker, annoyed, says all the villains he fought are dead. The old man says that's what makes him different from Batman. Batman doesn't kill his enemies. Peacemaker says Batman lets them live, but they always escape and hurt more people. If Batman killed them, many lives would be saved. Then the old man calmly tells Peacemaker that the police took his father. Shocked, Peacemaker calls Myrn and asks if his dad was arrested because of him. Myrn tells him to calm down and listen, but Peacemaker says he wants to hear it from his dad and decides to go see him. Vigilante tells him not to trust anyone, and Peacemaker agrees, adding that his dad is a racist. Vigilante asks if he will kill his dad. Peacemaker says no, he's still his father. Myrn tells Adebayo she must stop Peacemaker from meeting his father because he might find out the truth and get arrested. Adebayo suggests Harcourt should go, but Myrn says Peacemaker only trusts her. Meanwhile, the judo master wakes up tied to the couch and starts trying to escape. Adebayo finds Peacemaker and tells him not to meet his dad, saying he shaped who he is, but he should stay away. Peacemaker replies that he knows about her dad too, and walks away. At the police station, he meets his father, who cruelly says he wanted to kill him since birth and liked his other son better. He calls Peacemaker a murderer and tells him to leave. Outside, Adebayo plays a mind game with Vigilante, hinting that Peacemaker will never be free while his dad is around. Vigilante quietly walks off. Peacemaker comes out and tells Adebayo that his dad exposed them and she'll be in the media. Adebayo says it doesn't matter and asks him to come with her. Peacemaker says he must watch Vigilante, but she convinces him to leave with her. He agrees, though he looks very upset. In the next scene, Vigilante walks to the police station, grabs a trash can, and throws it at a window to get attention. When the police come outside, he lets them arrest him without any fight. Meanwhile, Economos enters the room where the judo master was kept but finds him missing. He quickly calls Adebayo to report the escape, but before he can do anything, the judo master jumps out from behind a cupboard and attacks him. When Peacemaker and Adebayo return to the quarters, they find Economos hurt, and he tells them what happened. Peacemaker then goes to the parking lot where the judo master shows up and blocks his way. They start fighting again, and this time Peacemaker beats him badly. During the fight, the judo master makes fun of Peacemaker's body, and Peacemaker fires back by mocking his body too. Later, the judo master comes back and starts another fight, gaining the upper hand this time. He stops for a moment and says they are wrong about the butterflies and don't really understand the situation. But before he can explain more, someone shoots him from behind. Peacemaker complains that they should have waited since he was about to win. Later, Peacemaker is at home with two jars. One has the glowing liquid the butterfly family drinks, and the other has a butterfly, the one that came from Butterfly Leader. Peacemaker didn't kill it, he caught it. Eagly tries to knock the jar over, but Peacemaker stops him. Later, the team learns Vigilante's real name is Adrian. The scene cuts to Peacemaker's dad hanging out with his gang, when Vigilante enters casually and proposes a game, asking them to list good things black people have contributed to American culture. He proceeds to roast them all one by one, mocking their racism until they finally attack him. Vigilante fights back and beats them, but Peacemaker's dad refrains from fighting, knowing security cameras are watching. Police soon break up the brawl and return everyone to their cells. As Vigilante walks out, he tells Peacemaker's dad that he's a terrible person and a horrible father, making the father realize this man is Peacemaker's friend. The scene shifts to Harcourt sitting alone when Peacemaker approaches her and says he needs something. He wants to know what's written in his file. Harcourt tells him that his father tried to shape him into a killer from childhood, that he was trained for it, and that his brother died under mysterious circumstances in which Peacemaker was involved. This devastates Peacemaker, and he quietly walks away. Later, Vigilante is seen in prison until Harcourt arrives to pick him up. In the car, she suggests he may have made things worse. The next scene shows Peacemaker dancing alone to a sad song, lost in thought. He remembers how his father once gave him a knife and ordered him to kill a man. Though unsure, Peacemaker complied out of fear. He hugs a photo to his chest and flashes back to a moment when he played with his brother as kids, followed by the tragic moment of his brother's death. In the present, Peacemaker sets the photo down. It's an old picture of him and his brother Keith. The scene cuts again as new leads about the butterfly case emerge. Peacemaker calls Myrn, who says they'll talk in the morning. As soon as the call ends, Myrn picks up a bowl, pulls out a long tube, and drinks the butterfly liquid. It's revealed that Myrn is also a butterfly. Peacemaker wakes up with a hangover and tries to cure it by mixing raw eggs and other ingredients into a drink, which he sips. He steps outside and sits down, visibly upset, prompting Eagly to feel his sadness and bring him a dead squirrel as a gift. Peacemaker acknowledges the gesture, tells Eagly to eat it, but when Eagly refuses, he brings the squirrel inside, saying it was a good effort, though he can't eat it himself. His mood lifts slightly. Meanwhile, Adebayo gets ready for work. Her girlfriend tries to talk to her, but she brushes it off, saying she's late. While driving, Adebayo gets a message from her mother, Amanda Waller, asking if she's read Peacemaker's diary or kept it at home. Adebayo replies she hasn't done it yet. At HQ, the team gathers, and Myrn uses a presentation created by Economos to brief them. They learn that after a plane crash last year, a butterfly was seen leaving a man's head, marking the start of their investigation. The presentation shows butterflies can enter people through various means, even from behind, which Peacemaker finds amusing. Economos explains that they're aliens, so their methods are limitless, prompting Vigilante to argue that being alien doesn't mean they enter people that way. Economos jokingly calls him a racist alien. Peacemaker randomly claims Superman has strange fetishes, and when Harcourt questions where he got that, he blames it on internet searches, which Harcourt dismisses as nonsense. Myrn continues explaining that the butterflies require a rare liquid to survive, one no longer found naturally on Earth. Their investigation has revealed a link between the butterfly family and a company called Glantai Bottling Company, also connected to the metahuman who attacked Peacemaker. As a result, the team must investigate the company. Peacemaker mocks the presentation, and Economos, frustrated, says he didn't mean to frame his father, he just couldn't think of another name. Peacemaker angrily responds that out of everyone in the world, he chose the one person he didn't want implicated. He shouts at the team, accusing them of wasting time. Vigilante casually remarks that at least the place has cable, while Myrn, annoyed, reminds them of their duties. Vigilante, misunderstanding Myrn's tone, pretends not to hear the question. Myrn assigns them to inspect the Glantai, while he handles the situation with White Dragon. Economos appears dejected. Meanwhile, Peacemaker's father tells a detective he didn't kill the girl. The detective counters with evidence. The car was registered to him, the fingerprints matched, and witnesses identified him. The father insists he was framed and suggests someone manipulated the system, asking for his prints to be retaken. When asked who the killer was, he blames Peacemaker. The scene then shifts to Peacemaker and Adebayo, preparing for the company visit. Adebayo advises Peacemaker not to isolate himself over what Economos did, saying she believes he has a good heart. Elsewhere, the father's fingerprints are being retested. The team then drives to Glantai. Peacemaker plays loud music, which Harcourt stops, finding it annoying. He teases Economos again, but Adebayo reminds him to stop. Peacemaker jokingly mispronounces his name. Vigilante asks if they need a warrant to investigate the company. Harcourt explains that they don't need a warrant because this is a covert mission with no government approval. Every past operation involving butterflies was shut down by government figures, but this time, Amanda Waller is secretly funding them, allowing the mission to move forward. The team arrives at the company, and at the same time, a man arrives at Myrn's home, a covert agent sent by Waller to handle the situation involving Peacemaker's father. Meanwhile, the detectives recheck the father's fingerprints and find that they don't match. They also question the couple in the apartment again, and the husband admits that Peacemaker had captured them but didn't hurt anyone, and he seemed like a good person. The detectives talk privately and conclude that even if they had considered holding White Dragon, the evidence now forces them to release him. The team, minus Economos, prepares to infiltrate the company in pairs, Harcourt with Vigilante and Adebayo with Peacemaker. Once inside, Peacemaker immediately starts firing at people. Adebayo questions his actions, but he explains that he can now see butterflies inside people's heads with his helmet's X-ray vision. On the other side, Harcourt and Vigilante reach a storage room filled with the liquid butterflies need to survive. While they investigate, they're chased by butterflies and end up locking themselves in a room. Harcourt communicates through her earpiece that they're trapped. Peacemaker continues ahead and encounters a butterfly that warns him his friends won't return because they've gone to someone named Charlie, their so-called guardian angel. Peacemaker shoots the butterfly. Meanwhile, Harcourt and Vigilante are under attack and out of contact with Economos, who attempts to reach them unsuccessfully. Peacemaker moves ahead and comes across a group of butterflies at a gate, which he blows up using explosives. Inside, he faces a gorilla controlled by a butterfly. The gorilla overwhelms Peacemaker until Economos suddenly arrives and kills it with a chainsaw. Peacemaker praises him, and Economos proudly confirms it was him. After the mission, the team feels more connected, with Harcourt even smiling and taking a group photo. Back at the police station, the agent sent by Waller takes over as the new officer in charge. When the detectives say Peacemaker is innocent and the real suspect, he tells them not to question the report again and to continue with their duties. This ensures Peacemaker's father remains in custody. The team returns to HQ and discusses the possibility that butterflies might be able to control multiple species. Myrn ends the conversation, telling everyone to rest. The detectives later visit a judge, who is one of their uncles, to get a warrant to search White Dragon's house. Meanwhile, Harcourt relaxes and shares a photo from the mission on WhatsApp. Adebayo gives Peacemaker a ride home, and when he offers her a drink, she agrees. They talk while having beers, and Adebayo mentions that Harcourt seems cold and emotionless. While Peacemaker steps away, Adebayo secretly takes the diary Amanda Waller had given her and hides it inside his house. Feeling uneasy about her actions, she heads to headquarters instead of going home. She finds Myrn working late. When asked why she's there, she tells him she couldn't sleep. She then puts on one of Peacemaker's helmets and sees a butterfly inside Myrn's head. Shocked, she screams, and Myrn attacks her. As she tries to escape, she stumbles and falls, while Myrn closes in. Adebayo falls to the ground and her gun slips from her hand. Myrn tells her to stop, saying he doesn't want to hurt her. Frozen in fear and shock, Adebayo stares at him. Harcourt enters and asks if Adebayo has discovered the truth, and Myrn confirms she saw his secret using Peacemaker's X-ray helmet. Harcourt lifts Adebayo and explains she had suspected Myrn for a while, especially after noticing that an explosion to his face caused little damage and his behavior seemed off. Inside headquarters, Myrn explains that his species came to Earth because their own planet was dying. At first, they lived peacefully, and the butterfly inside Goff was their queen. But eventually, the Queen and others wanted to dominate Earth, and Myrn opposed them. When Adebayo points out that Myrn also took over a human, he admits the host was a criminal. He explains that he didn't want to use anyone but had no choice and regrets the man's chaotic mind, which is filled with constant, uncontrollable thoughts. It's also revealed that Economos knew Myrn's identity, but Amanda Waller remains unaware. Harcourt insists they must keep Waller in the dark. Myrn says they must now go to the Butterfly's main base, destroy the cow that produces the alien liquid, and uncover where it's made. Adebayo, confused, asks about the cow, and Harcourt realizes she didn't know yet. The scene shifts to Peacemaker visiting a school after a janitor from the first episode invites him. He tells the kids a story about fighting Kite Man, and they begin asking questions. A girl asks if he has a tragic origin, and Peacemaker recalls his brother's death and his father blaming him, but he simply says no. As he leaves, a young boy thanks him. Meanwhile, Detective Song releases Peacemaker's father from jail using a judge's signed order, shifting the charges onto Peacemaker. Captain Locke questions her, but she insists she's following procedure. Peacemaker's father walks out of prison, gets into his car, and announces they'll go home first, then prepare to kill his son. The scene cuts to Peacemaker feeding the butterfly, followed by a sequence showing the police preparing to arrest him. At home, he eats breakfast with Vigilante, while the butterfly draws a peace symbol in condensation on its jar. Captain Locke informs Myrn of their operation. Peacemaker attempts to communicate with the butterfly, setting up a yes or no system with knocks on the jar, which the butterfly understands. Vigilante playfully asks its favorite color, prompting Peacemaker to scold him for asking non-yes or no questions. Outside, police officers prepare to raid the house. Myrn tries calling Peacemaker but fails. Harcourt suggests calling Vigilante, and Myrn finally manages to speak to Peacemaker, warning him about the police. Looking out the window, Peacemaker sees a large group of officers. He, Vigilante, and Eagly escape through the roof, with Eagly flying out first. Detective Song tries to contact anyone inside, but with no response, the police storm the house and begin searching. They don't find Peacemaker, who's hiding above. During the search, an officer discovers Peacemaker's diary, the one Adebayo had hidden there under Amanda Waller's orders. Meanwhile, Peacemaker and Vigilante are on the roof. They climb into a tree, and when Song senses something suspicious, she walks to the back of the house to investigate. As they try to stay hidden, Vigilante loses his balance and falls from the tree. The jar holding the butterfly breaks open, and the butterfly escapes, flying into Song's mouth and taking control of her. Peacemaker and Vigilante see this and rush to her, but they're spotted by police, triggering a chase. As they flee, Eagly swoops in to defend them, attacking officers, scratching faces, and knocking them down. Vigilante, impressed, comments that Peacemaker's eagle is incredibly tough. Suddenly, 3 more officers appear in front of them, blocking their path. Peacemaker kills 2 officers, but before the third can shoot, Captain Locke intervenes and shoots him, then tells Peacemaker there's a car parked near the woods that he should take to escape. As Peacemaker looks back, he sees that Locke has also killed the other 2 officers, ultimately helping him. Peacemaker and Vigilante get in the car and drive off. Meanwhile, Detective Song regains consciousness, and though Detective Larry tells her to rest, she gets up and begins pursuing Peacemaker. While driving, Peacemaker reaches for his phone, but Vigilante grabs it and throws it out the window. When Peacemaker questions him, Vigilante says the police could trace them, but Peacemaker explains it was a secure line. Realizing his mistake, Vigilante apologizes. At the crime scene, the detectives find the bodies, and Larry asks if Peacemaker did it. Locke says there was a third man in a striped red shirt and black mask, and he doesn't know why they attacked. Locke claims he couldn't see the man's face. Detective Song walks away as Locke retrieves the diary from Peacemaker's house and tells officers to hand over any further evidence. Back at headquarters, Myrn arrives and asks why Peacemaker had a diary. Adebayo lowers her head, muttering in guilt, and when asked what's wrong, she dismisses it. Soon after, Peacemaker and Vigilante arrive, and Peacemaker reports that something went wrong. He recounts how, after Goff's family was killed, he captured the butterfly, who is now inside Detective Song. Song had only wanted to see if he was mishandling the butterfly situation. He also mentions that while a policeman helped him, 3 others were killed, which deeply unsettled him. Myrn is shocked, realizing it was Captain Locke, Amanda Waller's agent. The team agrees to assist, and Economos offers to track the Glantai trucks through street cameras. He reveals they consistently travel to the same location, which the team concludes must be where the alien food is manufactured. They realize destroying the food source would kill the butterflies. Peacemaker, sensing secrecy, accuses the team of hiding things from him. Vigilante responds, unsure if Peacemaker might be hiding something himself. Peacemaker turns to Vigilante, who jokingly spreads his arms and asks who Eagly is between them. Peacemaker tells him to stop, then demands to know what else is being hidden. Adebayo explains they've discovered the food comes from a cow, and that destroying the source will eliminate the butterflies. Peacemaker asks why this information wasn't shared earlier. Myrn interrupts, stating that now everyone knows the plan and should get to work. That night, Detective Song sits alone in a field as butterflies descend around her. A spaceship, previously seen in Episode 2, hovers overhead. Song then returns to the police department, and butterflies begin possessing officers one by one. Meanwhile, Peacemaker's father prepares to kill him, donning the white dragon armor while his followers chant his name in unison, creating a dramatic moment. The butterflies also begin possessing prisoners in the jail, and Song, now controlled by a butterfly, leads the takeover of every police station. Elsewhere, Harcourt hands Peacemaker a gun and tells him she marked his weapon. Peacemaker thanks her and admits that the dove symbol no longer holds meaning for him. He doesn't want to kill people anymore, but is fine killing aliens. As Harcourt walks away, she tells him she once thought he was a terrible person, but now she sees he has a good heart. She calls him by his real name and wishes him good night. Peacemaker responds in kind, but admits he doesn't know her name. She tells him it's Amelia, and he says goodnight before she leaves. Alone at HQ, Peacemaker looks around and begins playing a slow, emotional tune on the piano. After he finishes, Vigilante joins him and brings up the diary, saying Peacemaker had denied having one. They then turn on the television and watch Captain Locke's public statement. Locke announces that Peacemaker's diary was found and claims it describes an alien invasion where extraterrestrial beings are taking over human bodies and pretending to be people. He says this is the reason Peacemaker killed the Goff family and dozens of employees from Glantai. He concludes by ordering all police departments to locate and apprehend Peacemaker immediately. In a flashback, Peacemaker is seen sitting with his brother, listening to music. A man calls them outside where their father is waiting. He tells them they must fight, with no rules, just fight. A crowd gathers to watch. Initially, they playfully spar, but as their father encourages them, the fight becomes serious. Chris punches his brother hard, causing him to fall and bleed from the nose. Chris thinks he is pretending, but when their father checks, he realizes the brother is having seizures, which lead to his death. Back in the present, Peacemaker recalls this memory and is visibly emotional when someone enters his room. Vigilante appears just as Peacemaker sees the news showing the police are arresting him. While calling out, Vigilante walks away, noticing Judo Master, who runs off, prompting Peacemaker and Vigilante to flee as well. Peacemaker's father, wearing the White Dragon suit, is tracking him. Peacemaker tells Vigilante that Adebayo planted the diary in his home. Economos then shows up and asks if Peacemaker keeps a diary, to which he strongly denies, saying he wouldn't write one after fighting aliens all day. Economos replies that before the police catch them, he plans to kill the cow. Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Eagly head out, with Myrn following. Meanwhile, Harcourt visits Adebayo's apartment and accuses her of planting the diary. Adebayo confesses she's Amanda Waller's daughter and says she was forced to do it. Myrn arrives, and Harcourt asks if he knew, to which he says yes. Myrn explains that he wanted the mission to succeed because the butterfly threat is global, and saving the planet takes priority. He mentions that Captain Locke has lost his memory, and suspects the police will soon locate them. Outside a store, Judo Master eats Cheetos while a group of kids mock him. Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Economos are shown driving toward the cow's location. Economos blasts rock music, and though Peacemaker questions the timing, Economos insists there's nothing wrong with enjoying music, leading them all to enjoy the moment. Peacemaker's father, tracking them, reaches their location and uses his suit to fly. He crashes into their truck, flipping it. After some time, Peacemaker and Vigilante get up. Peacemaker's father breaks through a wall and enters, confronting him. When Chris asks why he's there, his father replies that he's doing what he should have done long ago. He fires a laser, but Chris dodges it, causing a hole in the wall. Outside, Vigilante throws a bomb at the father. Though it explodes, the father survives thanks to his armor, though he is injured. Vigilante disappears. Peacemaker and Economos flee into the woods, pursued by the White Dragon and his followers. Economos wonders how they were found, and Peacemaker realizes it was likely through his helmet, which his father created. Vigilante, lying by the roadside, finds a car and drives off. Meanwhile, the boys who mocked Judo Master exit the store, and he beats them up and takes their vehicle. Back at Adebayo's apartment, Harcourt prepares to leave. When the police arrive, she hides with Adebayo. The police then enter Myrn's room. He activates a mic and urges the team to go and eliminate the cow. Detective Song confronts him about how he knows the cow's location and the butterfly base. When she gets no mental reply, she tries to shoot, but a strange voice responds from her mind. The butterfly controlling her, now fully in charge, speaks and instructs the group to relocate the cow as soon as possible. The police then leave to carry out the task. After Harcourt and Adebayo enter the room, the butterfly in the dying body raises its hand before dying, and Adebayo finishes it off as it lands on her finger. Meanwhile, Vigilante is driving, but starts to lose consciousness from his earlier injuries caused by the explosion. He faints at the wheel, causing the car to veer off the road. Harcourt and Adebayo, wearing their necklaces, are then attacked by Judo Master, who suddenly enters the room. He beats Harcourt severely, and although she fights back with intensity, he still overpowers her. Adebayo intervenes, using a stun gun to shock Judo Master in the legs and chest, finally knocking him out. Elsewhere, the White Dragon and his followers track Peacemaker using the signal from a helmet, which they find tied to a raccoon. Meanwhile, Peacemaker and Economos find Vigilante unconscious. Peacemaker pushes him aside, takes the wheel, and drives off. Once Vigilante regains consciousness, he asks how they were caught, and Peacemaker explains they were tracked via the helmet. Vigilante then reveals he stored all of Peacemaker's helmets in the car's trunk. In response, Peacemaker stops and throws the helmets away. Just then, his father and his team arrive, capturing Peacemaker. Eagly swoops in to defend him, impressing Peacemaker's father, but he strikes Eagly down with such force that the eagle falls unconscious. Peacemaker retaliates, attacking his father, who fires a laser weapon that knocks Peacemaker down. As he presses his foot on him, he rants about racism and blames Chris for his brother's death. Chris replies that it was his father's fault that his brother died. As his father prepares to kill him, Vigilante leaps onto him and tries to disable the suit with a stun gun. His father throws Vigilante aside. The White Dragon then tries once more to use his laser weapon, but it fails. Peacemaker seizes the moment, fights back, and eventually kills his father, then breaks down in tears. Later, Harcourt tends to Adebayo's injury and expresses regret for being manipulated by her mother. Adebayo assures her she is not a bad person. Economos then calls them to the hospital, saying Eagly is near death. Peacemaker is seen by Eagly's side. praying for his life and offering his own in exchange. Eagly recovers and stands beside him. Adebayo, watching from outside, recalls the time Peacemaker had told her that Eagly once hugged him. The group regathers to plan their next move. Adebayo explains they must kill the cow before it is teleported, as this would eventually wipe out the butterflies. Harcourt agrees to lead the mission and asks if everyone is ready. Each team member confirms, including 3 doctors who volunteer, but Peacemaker rejects their offer and leaves with his original team. On the way, Vigilante feeds Eagly, while Adebayo tries to apologize to Peacemaker. However, he remains angry and says he trusted her too much and that he never wants to see her again after the mission. Harcourt then tells Economos to turn off the rock music, and when he jokes there's no time for rock, she laughs and looks away. The team moves out to destroy the cow. The scene shifts to the location where the cow is kept, revealing it to be a massive alien creature surrounded by butterflies. Adebayo begins to apologize to Peacemaker, but the moment she tries to speak, both he and Vigilante mock her. She tells them that she has come with a purpose and wants to talk seriously, which they find amusing. Peacemaker responds by saying she has taken away something important from him. Adebayo replies that the trust between them has been broken, and she wishes she could learn moral values from someone who, in one way or another, keeps getting them daily, yet still takes lives. Peacemaker calmly explains that he no longer kills people without reason. After the death of his brother, he made a vow that he would only take a life for someone else, and only in the name of peace. As she notices the file nearby, Adebayo softly asks him not to believe that his brother died because of him, since it was merely an accident and nothing more. Following this emotional moment, they finally locate the cow's hiding place and arrive there, where Adebayo contacts her mother. She pleads with her, saying that this is their last chance to eliminate the cow, and that doing so could wipe out all the butterflies. She even suggests that if possible, they should call the Justice League for help. However, her mother firmly responds that Harcourt is in charge of the mission, and insists she will handle it no matter what happens. The scene then transitions to Detective Song and her team as they talk urgently about needing to teleport the cow soon. Meanwhile, Peacemaker's team advances toward their target, carrying the necessary equipment and positioning themselves for a clear view of the warehouse. Adebayo takes out one of the helmets and asks what functions it has. Peacemaker explains that one helmet can create a sonic boom, another allows underwater breathing, and a third is designed to act like a human torpedo. He adds that this particular helmet works by turning your head and saying the phrase, "Activate human torpedo," which propels the wearer forward like a missile to destroy anything in their path. Adebayo suggests they could use the sonic boom helmet as a kind of walkie-talkie to help guide them into the warehouse where the cow is kept. They then come across a 4th helmet labeled Anti-Gravity, which unexpectedly activates on its own and starts floating away. Peacemaker warns them that simply saying a helmet's name followed by Activate will trigger its function. He comes up with a plan to have Eagly deliver the sonic boom helmet directly to the warehouse. Harcourt reacts in disbelief, calling the idea crazy. Despite this, Peacemaker lovingly explains the task to Eagly, asking the eagle to drop the helmet at the correct location. Remarkably, Eagly seems to understand, takes the helmet, and begins flying toward the warehouse, bringing joy to everyone watching. However, their excitement quickly turns into disappointment when Eagly veers off and drops the helmet deep in the jungle. As the butterflies continue preparing to teleport the cow, the Peacemaker team starts searching frantically for the helmet, knowing it is their last hope. During this time, Peacemaker hallucinates seeing his father, who taunts him by claiming that even though Peacemaker killed him, he will not go away easily. Peacemaker prepares his dart gun, fires it, but Harcourt notices and questions him, asking who he is aiming at since no one else is there. This jolts Peacemaker into realizing that it was only a figment of his imagination. Harcourt eventually finds the missing helmet. Elsewhere, a butterfly is shown sitting quietly at a distance, and Peacemaker sneaks up behind her and inserts a large needle into her ear, successfully killing the parasite within. The team then makes a plan involving Economos disguising himself in the infected man's clothes, a difficult task, but one he agrees to undertake. He puts the helmet into a bag, wears Peacemaker's helmet, and heads toward the warehouse. As he proceeds, Detective Larry stops him and questions why he's entering. Peacemaker reacts with confusion and frustration, leading the detective to allow him through, though still bewildered by the situation. Economos makes it inside and is horrified by the sight of the giant alien cow. Frightened, he drops the bag and quickly flees. Once outside, Detective Larry stops him again and asks why the man he impersonated had dyed his beard that way. Economos explains that the man dyed it to look younger because he never had any friends or a girlfriend. No one ever paid attention to his beard, but one day someone noticed and made fun of it. The butterfly turns to Economos and says that humans are extremely pathological, prompting him to walk away. Suddenly, a man arrives holding the sonic boom helmet and informs the butterflies that this is the man with the helmet. and that he had hidden it inside, urging them not to let him escape. Economos begins running, and the butterflies chase after him. Harcourt urgently tells Adebayo to activate the sonic boom via the walkie-talkie, but Adebayo is so nervous that she drops it. By that time, the butterflies have surrounded Economos. The butterfly holding the helmet stands up, and Adebayo finally manages to say the activation command, causing a powerful blast that destroys the warehouse. As the butterflies try to regroup and reach the warehouse, Adebayo reactivates the sonic boom, triggering a second explosion. Economos manages to return to the team, and the collapsing ceiling starts to crush the cow. Harcourt, Peacemaker, and Vigilante prepare to go in and kill the cow while Adebayo stays behind. The trio pushes through, killing many butterflies along the way in an intense battle. Harcourt tells Peacemaker to go on alone to kill the cow, assuring him that they will handle things outside. As Peacemaker makes his way forward, Detective Larry follows him, but Vigilante beheads him with a sword and tells the corpse not to interfere with his best friend. Peacemaker continues, but due to the damaged path from the blast, he falls and gets trapped under heavy debris. Meanwhile, Vigilante is chased by a butterfly, but without even turning around, he throws a knife into its head, killing it, though he collapses from a gunshot wound. Harcourt is hit by multiple bullets and, despite fighting back, falls to the ground critically wounded. Seeing this, Adebayo rushes in and starts killing butterflies one after another. One of the butterflies enters her mouth via the necklace, but she spits it out and shoots it. Economos tries to help but falls and injures his leg, screaming in pain. Adebayo dons the human torpedo helmet and searches for Peacemaker. Trapped under debris, Peacemaker sees a hand reaching out. It's Detective Songs, who is the butterfly queen. When Peacemaker realizes who she is, he attacks, but she lifts him by the neck. Adebayo arrives just in time, utters the activation command, and shoots forward, crashing into a wall and falling unconscious. Peacemaker, seeing this, says he had warned her not to use that. Then, he manages to kill the alien queen and approaches the cow, stunned by its massive size. The queen pleads for his help, trying to manipulate him. Just then, Adebayo regains consciousness, and Peacemaker calls out the activation phrase again, sending her flying straight into the cow's heart. He proceeds to kill the remaining butterflies one by one. Instead of killing the butterfly inside Detective Song, he shoots her human host in the heart, ensuring the butterfly cannot survive. With the cow now dead, he lifts Adebayo and carries her out. The queen butterfly exits from Song's mouth and Peacemaker leaves her behind. Outside, he finds Vigilante and Harcourt, both severely injured. He carries Harcourt away. The Justice League arrives, but Peacemaker angrily scolds them for showing up too late and sarcastically tells Aquaman to go have romance with a fish. Later at the hospital, Peacemaker tells Vigilante to get checked out, but Vigilante insists he's fine and just needs sleep before fainting again. Adebayo apologizes to Peacemaker and he forgives her, telling her she's his best friend after Eagly. The following day, Adebayo holds a press conference where she publicly reveals the truth, that they saved the world from alien invaders and that Peacemaker played the most important role, proving he is a hero, not a villain. Eventually, Harcourt wakes up and is visited by Peacemaker, who she learns has been coming to see her every day, as told by a nurse. Meanwhile, Adebayo enjoys time with her girlfriend, and Economos settles into a new job at his own office. Judo Master returns to the abandoned warehouse, quietly crying as he eats Cheetos and sees what's left of the butterflies. Peacemaker and Vigilante now live freely in the jungle, setting off explosives for fun. That evening, Peacemaker returns home, steps outside, and finds the queen butterfly waiting. He silently gives her food, sits beside her, and then sees a vision of his father as Eagly stands nearby.